Okay then, let's have a little look at the intro. I'm just going to give an overview of this paper. Well, just with the thought of if you were sitting in an exam, under exam conditions, the sort of approach you'd adopt when you had a quick look at the beginning of the paper at the beginning of an exam. The exam's 1.5 hours long, so you get this paper, you'd have a look through the questions. So let's have a look at this particular paper and see how we might best approach it. We've got our answer book, we've got our formula book, we're asked to answer all questions, and we need to show our working. We haven't got a calculator with us, and we know the marks on the right hand side for each of the questions. And we also have to be reminded that we need good English when we do these things, haven't we? So explain our answers. So let's have a look at the first question then. Now this first question, it looks terribly long. It's going to take quite a long time to do it. There's quite a lot of marks for it, as you can see here, 13 marks, so it's quite a lot of marks, but nevertheless it looks really long-winded. It takes up most of the page. It doesn't look very user-friendly at all. So if we were thinking about looking at it, thinking about whether to do that one, I would skip that to start with. Number 2 is very user-friendly, so you could this could be a contender for starting a nice easy question, get yourself in feeling comfortable with the exam, so that would get you off to a good start. This one is slightly less trivial, but it's doable. This one is very straightforward, of course, to work out the answer there and simplify. So question 2, I would definitely, with this particular test, put that down as possible one to start with. Let's look through it just briefly then for the other questions. 3, equation to normal. Again, that's a nice little easy question, isn't it? Just differentiate, get the tangent, then find the gradient and the normal, and then another point. So again, number 2 and 3s are both good questions to do, so they're okay. So I'm just crossed off question 1 at the moment, really, to do later on in the test. Question 4, this is nice. And then the greatest value of this, yeah, no problem. Completing the square sort of thing. Yeah, number 4 is no problem, bread and butter question, so that's good there. No real roots, quadratic, yeah, discriminant, again, that's going to be fairly easy. We can factorize this, so that question, so 5 is a good one as well. So this is looking like a nice, reasonably straightforward paper, isn't it? dy dx from first principles, and it's a quadratic, so that's straightforward. And normal differentiation here. So again, number 6 is good. So the whole paper could just be run through, except for question 1. 2 to 6 could be just done in order. X squared, power 5, that's easy enough. One of the terms is 8 times the other, the coefficients of, that is. And you find the value of A. So again, that's not too bad. Shouldn't be too bad to do that one. And then you've got, so 2 to 7. I think that's what I would do. In any order, it doesn't matter. Probably work through them sequentially, but 2 to 7 is what I'd do with this paper. And then I'd go on to 8, maybe work through 8 then. Polynomial, evaluate f minus 2, and deduce one fact about it. So it's either going to be a factor or not a factor, isn't it? That would be the one fact. And then solving this equation here, so finding the roots of that equation there. So that seems okay. That was 8. Let's have a quick look at 9. So 2 to 8 is okay so far. It's got this curve, turning points and maximum, sketch fx over 2, that should be okay. And sketch, the other one to sketch, slightly different, but variations on the same theme. So that's alright, but it looks like it's a long question, but it's not. Question 10 then. Cubic, stationary points, differentiate, stationary points and sketch, and the nature, second derivative. 3 distinct roots, so we'd have to look at the curve that we've sketched and find out what values we've got. Okay, so the thoughts on this paper then. So we've had a little look through the paper at the beginning of the test, which is always a good idea. It only takes a moment or two. And what are we going to say about it? Well, we think question 1 is not very user-friendly. I think that's generally something I would contend. And 2 to 8, 2 to 7, just get the bulk of those questions done in double quick time. They're fairly straightforward. And then you've got 8, 9 and 10, which one can do. And then time permitting, come back to question 1 and give it a good go. And then the only thing I would say, so that's how I'd do it. I'd leave question 1 toward the end of the test and then work through that. And the only other thing I would say is if you do get time at the end, don't go and leave early. But the best thing to do is when you finished it, sit back in your chair, pick up your script and just read it through with an eye to checking every detail is right, checking it's all right, what you've done. And the other thing to say, of course, and then if you've done that and then you've still got time, we'll go through it again. So go through it as many times and use up that full 90 minutes. The only other reflection I've got on this paper, and I think it applies to certain questions, I don't know if I can find the questions now. There are questions where you can actually do the subsequent parts without knowing what the preceding part is. This one is not the case here. There are questions in this paper I noticed. Let's go back to question 1 because it might be question 1 actually. When I was working through it, I noticed, here we go. The lines L1 and L2 intersect at the point D. Now show that D is coordinates 1, 4. Now suppose you just couldn't do that, for example. We couldn't get the answer right. Well, you carry that correct thing forward to doing parts 2 and 3. Once you've found the coordinates of D and you know B, you can find the length of BD and also then the midpoint. So if you get stuck on a question, some questions are designed in such a way that you can carry on with the question regardless of what was wrong from the preceding part. So bear that in mind when you have questions. Don't just suddenly stop and say I can't do any more, because there may in fact be some things in the question that you can go on to do even if you haven't done certain parts. So that's the only things I wanted to say about this paper. A fairly easy and straightforward paper actually, and just little glitches here and there, but nothing major. Okay then, all the best. Hope you get on okay with it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.